You're listening to the Armchair GMs Sports Network.
You're listening to the Niagara Hockey Lowdown Leafs Edition, your source for all news, reactions, analysis, and objective discussions regarding the NHL's Toronto Maple Leafs from right here in the Niagara region. Here's your host, Kyle Akit.
What is going on, Leaf fans? I hope you are doing a little bit better this morning after last night. But welcome to the Niagara Hockey Lowdown Leafs Edition right here on the Armchair GMs Sports Network, your source for North American sports coverage by sports fans for sports fans, delivered to you right here in the Niagara region. Ladies and gentlemen, you can follow the podcast on Twitter. Yes, Armchair GM Leafs. You can also follow the network itself at Armchair GM Pod. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Armchair GMs Network. Check out our website, armchairgmsports.com, and then you can listen to every episode on the Armchair GMs Network on Spreaker, Spreaker.com/the Armchair GMs. As well, we are available to listen to on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Stitcher Radio. Wherever you are getting your podcast, you can find the Armchair GMs Sports Network. So wherever it's easier and convenient for you to listen to us, we are available to you on all those platforms. And I am your host of this podcast, as always. My name is Kyle. You can follow me on Twitter if you'd like at justkyle51 for my great tweets. Sometimes they're always a hot take, but that's all right. But we're here, guys, talking about obviously we seen last night with another crushing playoff outing by the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we're here to talk about that. We're going to do a series wrap-up. We'll do a season overview. We'll take another commercial break, and then we'll talk about the lottery that's happening tonight, which don't know if I'm looking forward to the most. I don't think we definitely deserve a lottery pick, but we'll have some discussions about that. And basically what needs to be done with the team. I'll give you guys my opinions on what I think the team should go and what direction it should go, because I think big changes need to happen, especially with this team, because it's been way too long with the same formula to keep going this way. So we have a lot to talk about. Well, again, we'll wrap up the series with the Columbus Blue Jackets going the distance in 5 games. Which, God, I still can't believe it. Like, going to bed last night, I don't know. To me, I feel more disappointed with this series than I did with Boston, believe it or not. Every series against Boston, I had, high expectations. Like, I knew that we were a good team, and I thought we could get it done. But obviously, Boston ended up being the better team each and every series. But I think we still kept up, and we still did good. This series, just from game one until the end, like, I didn't have faith in this team. I'm sorry to say, and that's come from a diehard Leaf fan. I had no faith in this team. I knew it was going to be horrible because of the season they had. If you look back on it, guys, the Leafs did not have a good season. There were so many ups and downs this year going into these playoffs, regardless of the 5 or 6, whatever month break it was in between the NHL pause till the playoffs. We did not have a good season. We did not look good going into these playoffs. So, again, I don't feel as bad as I feel a little bit more disappointed than I did against the Boston series, but I don't feel too bad this morning. I didn't wake up with a groggy feeling because I knew this was going to happen. Like, it was kind of in the back of my head all along that we weren't going to get it done, and if we did not deserve to go past this round. And I knew if we did, we were only going to get crushed. There's no way we could have went on like that, especially the way we played in this series. So we'll touch base on all that, and again, we'll talk about the draft lottery that's happening tonight. I think I'll give my take on who I think deserves the draft lottery pick to drafting Lafreniere, and then we'll talk about what needs to be done. So, guys, stick around. We're going to take our first commercial break here, and then we'll get right into it. So we'll be back right here in the Niagara Hockey Lowdown Leafs Edition and right here on the Armchair GMs Sports Network.
Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, serving traditional-style Italian pizzas made with the freshest, top-quality ingredients. Loaded subs and their famous chicken wings. Winners of the Reader's Choice Diamond Award, 4 years running from Niagara this week for Best Pizza and Wings in Niagara Falls. Home of the best tray and wing combo in town for the price and quality. Open daily from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., located on the corner of Drummond Road and Dunn Street. Available for call-ahead pickup or delivery at 905-374-4400. Make sure to like them on Facebook and view their website for their menu at carmine'spizzeria.ca. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano. Way too good. As we all adjust to this new world that we're living in today, masks are now mandatory, and Niagara's own Custom PPE is Canada's leading face mask provider. Visit them online at customppe.ca and choose between several mask options with different colors and sizes. Add your organization, company, or team logo so you make your face masks unique. Available to purchase online 24/7 at customppe.ca and shipped within 1 week. They have the best prices and quickest turnaround in Canada, and no order is too big or too small. Also offering custom floor stickers as well as face and counter shields for your business or workplace. Visit customppe.ca and use the code ARMCHAIR at checkout for 20% off your custom or blank face mask today. Custom PPE, Canada's leading face mask provider. Attention job seekers, if you are currently looking for work in the Niagara region, you owe it to yourself to check out the services provided by the Niagara Employment Help Center, located at 6100 Thoroldstone Road, Niagara Falls, directly across from the Camisos Plaza. Their free services include resume and cover letter writing, community resource and referral information, local labor market information, job search strategies, assistance with clarifying employment training and career goals, employment counseling and job search support, second career information and registration assistance, and all their services are currently provided by appointment only. So give them a call at 905-358-0021 or visit their website at ehc.on.ca, the Niagara Employment Help Center. This Employment Ontario program is funded by the Government of Ontario.
You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network, the Niagara region's best local source for North American sports podcasting coverage. By sports fans, for sports fans.
All right, welcome back, Leaf fans, to another edition of the Niagara Hockey Lowdown, Leafs edition, right here on the Niagara Hockey Lowdown. Here to wrap up the series with the Columbus Blue Jackets in the Stanley Cup Qualifiers. Yes, that's right. Not exactly the first round of the playoffs. We had to qualify to get in the first round of the playoffs, and guess what? We couldn't do that either. Ugh, typical Leafs. First round knockout in a way. Living up to their playoff, I think their own playoff story the last, 15, 16 years that we haven't made it past the first round. It's just sad. Really, it's getting to a point, you need to make a change. If it hasn't worked, if you tried the same formula the last, 15 years, or the formula we're in now the last 5 years, and you're expecting a different result if you continue next year, it's just it's the definition of insanity. It's just not going to work. I'm looking at the last 15 years. Listen to this. So we'll start not from this year, but we'll start from the beginning of the last 15 years. Missed the playoffs, 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 missed 7 years straight of missing the playoffs. Then we lose in round one in that 2013 Boston in Game 7 overtime goal. Then we missed the playoffs 3 years after that. We rebuild the team. And then we lose in round one to Washington Capitals in a playoff that we weren't even supposed to make it. I wasn't even mad at that time. I was content the way the team was going. And then we make the playoffs and have a accelerated rebuild type seasons the 2 years after that. And again, we lose in the first round. Then we lose to Boston. And like I said, those times I had high expectations. I knew our team was good, especially from the 2 seasons that we had. But I'm more disappointed in them then than I am. It's really hard to explain. It's very hard to explain that how I'm feeling. It's just this playoff, I'm not as disappointed as I was then, but my expectations were higher then, if that makes any sense. I knew what we were getting into with these playoffs. And it just sucks because it was very, very hard to watch them on the ice, these playoffs, because they weren't skating like the team that they built in front of them. On paper, the Leafs should have done a lot better. Not necessarily saying they should have won in crush, but they should have done a lot better in their play-wise against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Like, this series has just been, it was just a roller coaster as well. I had mixed feelings about every single game. There was you just look at the series in general. The last 2 games before Game 5 were just insane. You're never probably going to see that ever again in a Stanley Cup playoff, especially in a 5-game format. That's just nuts. You go down you're up by 3, you lose in overtime 4-3, and then the very next game, less than 24 hours later, you were up by 3 in the first one, and you lose 4-3. Now you're down by 3, and you come back and win 4-3. The number 3 has become like the new 666 to me when the series. It's just bad luck. So this whole series was again really hard to watch. I imagine you Leaf fans out there were experiencing the same thing. Leafs Twitter has just been on fire the last 24 hours. Like, it's just, I've seen so many mixed emotions. And it's the same with Leaf Twitter all the time. Leaf Twitter is just, it's nuts. And people just fire Dubas this, trade Morgan Riley that, trade Freddie Anderson that. We can't, the Leafs aren't going to be doing anything emotion-based to changing the team. And I don't think we should be looking at changing the team by emotion-based. And I don't feel as much with this series because I knew how bad our team was going into this. So I do think we need to make changes, but I'm not basing that off of this series. I'm basing this off of the entire season. From October till now. You think of all the downs that happened to this team throughout the year. You think of the whole scandal with Austin Matthews and that security guard. You think about Mike Babcock getting fired. You think about losing to David Ayres, a Zamboni driver. There's everything that got packed into the season. It's just we knew what we were getting ourselves into going into these playoffs, but a lot of people I've seen lost track of that, and they got their hopes up, and the Leafs are known for doing that. And I'm not gonna lie either. I had hopes that we could probably take it in Game 5, but clearly the team showed on the ice that they didn't want it. They didn't. Anyone can sit there and want to tell me that the team tried the entire game. No, they didn't. What I watched was a team that knew they were done. Like, you can't tell me that the last 3 minutes of the game in Game 4 were played that entire Game 5. They played with no urgency. Like, it was just a completely different team. I saw a way different team in Game 4 than I saw in Game 5. And it was sad. It was very sad. Like, if you look at all the stats on paper, it's nuts. I think it was the Leafs. I think the Columbus Blue Jackets didn't score one power play goal in that entire series. So they scored all their goals on even strength. That's something to look at. That's just yeah, that says it all. And then you have this tweet that I found. The Leafs cap hit for the top line today of Marner, Tavares, and Matthews was $33.53 million. The cap hit of all 11 forwards in the Blue Jackets dressed for Game 5 was $34 million. So the total cap hit for the Leafs first line covered 11 of the Blue Jackets forwards. Yeah. That's another one. Another one. Here's another stat line. The Leafs only shot 2%. They had a 2% shooting percentage in all 5 games. Yeah. Yeah. I literally don't know what to say. I have to play the sound clip because I don't know what to say to these stats. Like, how do you only have a 2% shot percentage through 5 games on a team that's heavily packed on their offense? It doesn't make sense. If we're heavy loaded in the back end, sure, but we're heavy loaded offense. You only have 2% shot. Oh God, I don't even know what to say to some of these stat lines. I really don't. And to make things worse, the Muzzin going down didn't help, and then Tyson Barrie going down in Game 5, so we were left with Morgan Riley having to take the work and having to deal with Travis Dermott, Hall, Marinson, all trying to pick up the load. Yeah, it's just plain and simple, guys. The Leafs blew it. Like, the Leafs, they completely blew it. You blew it. Yeah, they were horrible. And here's another. Okay, I'm going to keep reading these stat lines. These are great for you guys that are finding entertainment out of this. This should be good for you. The last time the Toronto Maple Leafs won a playoff series, the movie Dodgeball. Yes, remember the movie Dodgeball? How old you were when that was being released. It was 2 months away from being released. That's the last time the Leafs won a playoff series. Yeah. These go on and on. Here's a great one. The not Atlanta Thrashers Twitter account, which is great. The Thrashers and Leafs have advanced to the second round the same number of times since 2004, and the Atlanta Thrashers are not even in the playoffs. Are not even a team anymore. Yeah. And here's another one. NHL teams that have not won a postseason series since the lockout canceled season 15 years ago. The Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. That is all. Yeah. I gave you a different sound for that one. It's just, this was just a bad look. And if this is not a sign that things need to change on this team, then I don't know what is. I really don't know what was, or what is going to be the sign. I don't understand why people had higher expectations of this team going into this. I from game one, I sat there and said, like, I don't think we got this. I don't know what else to say, guys, with that. Columbus was the better team. You look at it up and down, they were the better team. That we got out-coached. I think Sheldon Keefe definitely coached himself, or out-coached himself in some scenarios. They had a better defensive core. They knew how to shut the Leafs down because all they did was the same damn play. And then what did Columbus do? They collapsed in tight and dumped the puck, ragged the clock. That's basically what they did all of Game 5 or the entire second half of the game. From mid-second to the end of the game. That's all they did. It was sad. It was very sad. And Columbus was the better team. I'll give them that. Columbus definitely has a really structurally built team. Their goalies, I mean, the goalies were a big question going into this series. Obviously, with Merzlikins and Korpisalo, never have played a playoff game ever in their entire careers. They were solid. Merzlikins coming in and playing solid, I thought. I wouldn't have blamed that collapse of Columbus on him at all. And then Korpisalo bouncing back from being pulled and replaced in Game 4, coming back and having a strong shutout in Game 5. He played solid. Although I would argue at times the Leafs didn't really put that many good shots on him. I've seen a lot of times where the Leafs kind of waited and he was able to square up and get in position to make the save. And a lot of shots that were kind of just right at his chest. So I'm not going to take anything away from Korpisalo. I still think he's a good goalie. So Columbus has some promise in both those goalies, whoever they do decide to go with in the future. So I think Columbus is a really good team, man. They have a really structurally built team. Their defense is structured well. You got Pierre-Luc Dubois is just breaking out of that shell and becoming the superstar that he was projected to be. And they have a really solid depth forward crew. So good on Columbus. Again, guys, you guys shouldn't have had too much high expectations, especially from the season that the Leafs came off of going into this series. And unfortunately, they are eliminated once again in an elimination game. So, yeah, that's about wraps it up for that series with Columbus. And if we talk about the season, let me just quickly go over the stats here. So, I mean, Toronto did finish at the 70-game mark in 8th place in the Eastern Conference. They were 36-25-9, an 81-point season. At home, they were 18-9-7. They had a better home record and away record, and they still couldn't get it done in the bubble life. So, on their home rink. So, that says a lot there that, the Leafs are just not structurally built to win in a playoff and structurally built to win in a playoff series right now. So, I think the season, again, I went over the ups and downs. It was a very, very roller coaster type of a season this year, and I think there was more downs than ups. And I think the Leafs definitely have some work to do for sure. So other than that, guys, we're going to take our last commercial break here. We'll come back and talk about the draft lottery and what I think needs to be done with the Leafs going forward and some changes. It might be a shorter episode today, but again, I really have nothing else to say about this team. Again, until stuff starts happening, I'll pump out more episodes, but we'll wrap it up after we come back from the second commercial break here. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Niagara Hockey Lowdown Leafs edition and right back here on the Armchair GMs Sports Network.
J&O Flooring is a Niagara-based specialty flooring and design company. They take great pride in providing elite customer service and support. They are a specialty flooring and decor boutique shop with a beautiful showroom, great pricing, and a wide variety and truly unique selection of products. All their products are environmentally friendly and responsibly produced, so you can feel great about your flooring choices. Their goal as a local business is to build authentic relationships based on honesty and integrity that they foster with respect and authenticity, offering unique and wide range of quality products presented by a knowledgeable and patient team. They connect with their customers to simplify the process to make their life easier and to make their homes beautiful. Visit them at 4424 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, or find out more at jnlflooring.com. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. 905-358-3299 J&L Flooring. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill is located on the top of Clifton Hill and just a 5-minute walk from the majestic Niagara Falls. It is conveniently nestled in the heart of the tourist district. A family-owned and operated business, the Spicy Olive opened its doors in May of 2003 and has since been established as an authentic and unique Italian restaurant and bar. Its rustic ambiance and time-worn finishing provide a warm and inviting dining experience. Offering an array of delicious dishes, they specialize in authentic Italian cuisine, homemade sauces, fresh ingredients, and consistently providing a strong foundation on which they build their menu. As night falls, the Spicy Olive shifts to a lively lounge where drinks and live music come together to make a perfect evening. For more than 15 years, they have provided not only for their dedicated locals, but their customers from all over the world with authentic Italian food and great live entertainment. Open daily 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. for dinner and till 2 a.m. for drinks. Check out their new menu and book reservations on their website at Spicy Olive Bar and Grill, it's with an E at the end, .com, or call 905-371-2323 for reservations as well. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill. You're listening to the Armchair GMs Sports Network.
All right, Leaf fans, welcome back to the last part of the show on the Niagara Hockey Lowdown Leafs edition right here in the Armchair GMs Sports Network. We're here to talk about the draft lottery that's happening tonight. And believe it or not, the Leafs are involved in the first overall pick. And then I'll go over, I think, what needs to be done with the team and a look at maybe a couple of re-signs that we should do. But, yeah, I mean, it's been a rough couple 24 hours, guys, being eliminated by the Columbus Blue Jackets in the playoffs and leaving. I guess today that the Leafs are leaving the hub city and going back home. It's tough to watch, I know, and again, Leafs fans are all torn apart right now from just looking on Twitter. It's crazy. A lot of people blaming Kyle Dubas, a lot of people blaming Frederik Andersen. I don't think either should be blamed in this case. If you cannot blame Frederik Andersen for anything. I know there was a couple of questionable goals that went in on him in this series, but if your core four, like your main guys, aren't scoring in front of you, how are you seriously able to blame Frederik Andersen in this case? I think the Frederik Andersen blame is a lazy way out to put the blame on someone. I think if you're going to blame people, you blame the entire team. The entire team did not show up, guys. Plain and simple. But yeah, it's crazy the where people are yelling their frustrations to, and then Kyle Dubas. You can't really Kyle Dubas. The people are doing the hashtag fire Dubas thing. It's hilarious to me. I don't know if these people realize that, it took Lou Lamoriello 7+ years to win a Stanley Cup, and you're jumping on Dubas's back. And what is this, his third year at the team, second year at the team? Like, it makes me laugh, folks. It does make me laugh, but. Yeah, it's just you can't blame guys like Frederik Andersen the most. Like Freddie, guys, we wouldn't be where we've been getting at the last couple of years without Frederik Andersen. To put it in more perspective for you, when the core people in front of you don't score, that becomes the problem. It's not the goalie's fault. And here, I took this picture off of Twitter last night. 2018 versus Boston, that 7-4 loss. Matthews had no goals, no assists, no points. Marner, no goals, 1 assist, 1 point. Nylander, no goals, 2 assists, 2 points. No one scored. 2019, then that was your core 3. Now 2019 is when you add Tavares. You have your core 4. The only one to get a point in that entire 5-1 loss was John Tavares, and he scored the goal. Everyone else were silent ghosts, no points. 2020, this 3-0 loss to Columbus last night. No one had any points, obviously, because we lost 3-0. They got outscored 15-5 in Game 7 situations. And I know it's Game 5 this year, but it's basically a Game 7. They got outscored 15-5. It is not Frederik Andersen's fault when your key guys that are paid to score don't score. Oh, I really hate the Frederik Andersen blame. It really gets at me. I'm sorry. But anyways, now the Leafs are out. They now are joining the fray with a couple other teams to win the draft lottery. A 12.5% chance at winning the lottery. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to win the draft lottery. I do not. I don't think we deserve the draft lottery pick. I'm with the group of people that I really didn't like the format of this draft lottery. I do not like that teams that should have been like in the playoffs to begin with without a qualifier are having a chance at a I guess you can call him a franchise player. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I'm with you guys with that one, but anyways, it is what it is. Everyone gets a 12.5% chance. You got Edmonton, Florida, Minnesota, Nashville, New York Rangers, Pittsburgh, Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Winnipeg Jets. So, right off the bat, the three teams that I think don't deserve it are my own team. Yes, but shockingly enough, I don't think the Leafs deserve the draft lottery, especially after performing like that. And we don't need a guy like Lafreniere. I don't know why people are sitting there saying, "Oh, Lafreniere would be great. You trade one of Nylander or Marner away." I'm like, then we're just going to run into this problem 3 years from now when he's going to want a bigger contract than those guys. You got to think long term with these things, folks. So yeah, Edmonton, Toronto, and Pittsburgh. I don't think any of those three teams deserve the draft lottery pick. I would love to see a New York Ranger or I'd say probably Minnesota or Florida win it. Those teams are in their rebuild stages. Maybe Rangers or Minnesota more than any. I think if Minnesota won the draft lottery, that puts them in a very good state to start clearing out some people off their roster and start rebuilding the right way. I think for sure that if they won the lottery, they would go in that direction. Someone like Florida, if they won it, I mean, they don't really necessarily need the draft lottery pick, but it would help with their team as well. I think that would help them a little bit more. Maybe they could. I mean, you look at their team and they're not that bad. They just they think I need a little bit more help offensively, and I think maybe a guy like Lafreniere could help them out with that. But then you have a team like the New York Rangers. I think the New York Rangers are a perfect fit for Lafreniere, to be honest. He fits in well with their rebuild, and he would do a very good job with fitting in there. So I really don't want any of the teams I named, like Toronto, Pittsburgh, or Edmonton to win the lottery, especially not Edmonton. If Edmonton wins the lottery, folks, like, I really hope that doesn't happen. I really hope it does not happen. It's just way too easy for them to win the lottery. And then we've seen what's happened with them. And I would put the Leafs in the same boat as Edmonton. I think the Leafs basically are the Edmonton Oilers of the Eastern Conference. Look how many first-round draft picks they've had, and top-round draft picks that they've had, top first-rounders. And what have they done? They've done nothing. So they're basically the Edmonton Oilers of the Eastern Conference. It's sad to say, but they've become that narrative. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if the Leafs do, like, theoretically, if the Leafs win the draft lottery tonight, I think that could open up doors for them. I wouldn't take Lafreniere, obviously. That would open up the trade door. You trade that first overall pick, or you draft him and you trade Lafreniere, and you create a wide open market to get a really build a solid team. You could fleece a team for a lot of players to structurally build your team. You get rid of that first overall pick with, let's say, a Mitch Marner or a Nylander, or a Kerfoot, Janssen, or Kapanen. You free up cap space, and you're gaining in more players that you need to structurally build this team. So I definitely would not be as mad as we won the draft lottery, just as long as we would trade it. There's no way we would keep Lafreniere. I think people are like, oh yeah, I hate that. The keep Lafreniere and trade one of Marner or Nylander. Are you crazy? Oh man. But I will admit, like, neither one of those players did have a good playoff. They did not. Nylander played with like zero heart out there. I will say that. And Marner, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know what's. he hasn't been bad, but like I expected a little bit more out of him. I just don't know what it was. Maybe Columbus just was I don't know. It's really hard to sit here and think about it, guys. But anyways, I do want to look ahead at this team and what they should do. There's a lot of guys coming off the books here, and there's a lot of guys I think they should be re-signing and some that they should be letting go. But say the Leafs didn't. Say the Leafs didn't go out and trade one of the top core players and kind of kept the same team. This is what I have their lineup looking like next year, and it's not bad. I mean, I'd love for them to come out next year then and skate with more heart, but again, I think a blow-up is going to be needed. But if they didn't, this is what I have the Leafs lineup looking like. I think they keep the first line of Tavares, Matthews, and Marner. I think you keep that line together. Why not? Why not have a three-headed monster line going like throughout the regular season? I don't see the problem in doing that, because with the rest of their players, I think it fills out nice. And I'll tell you guys why. So I have them as the first line. Second line of Nylander on the wing, Kerfoot at center. And I think Kerfoot, from what I've seen, he really wasn't an impact player in these playoffs, but I think Kerfoot showed enough watching him that I think he could fill into a second line center role. I think he could do a good job filling in that second line center. So I gave him the second line center role with Hyman on the right. So you got Nylander, Kerfoot, Hyman as your second line. I mean, some of the wingers are interchangeable here. So my third line of Kapanen, Engvall, and Janssen. I loved Engvall's playoff. I think the guy showed a lot of promise. If you guys were watching him closely, not his stat line, but watching his play closely, he killed Columbus a lot of times with the dump and chase, because he would dump it. Like, he'd be skating with the puck, and if he was skating a lot, like he was striding into the zone while dumping the puck, he went and got his own dump, and he'd be the first guy back there each and every single time. And I think he played with a lot of heart. That fourth line played with probably the most heart out of any line in that entire playoff series with Columbus. So I have that third line of Kapanen, Engvall, Janssen. Fourth line, I think you re-sign Kyle Clifford. I think he's not going to go anywhere. You need a grit guy like that in your bottom pair, your bottom six. I think you re-sign Spezza if he's okay to go for another year. I think Spezza still has a lot in him to show, especially we saw him fight in this series with Columbus. I think he still wants to stay here in his hometown and play, so you re-sign him. And then you re-sign Ilya Mikheyev. I think Mikheyev is still welcome to staying here, hopefully. If not, you have a lot of call-ups in the AHL that you could replace Mikheyev with on that fourth line right wing. But a Clifford, Spezza, Mikheyev fourth line. Again, a lot of people are interchangeable here. For that. So that would be my forward core, guys. Tavares, Matthews, Marner, a three-headed monster, Nylander, Kerfoot, Hyman, Kapanen, Engvall, Janssen, and then Clifford, Spezza, Mikheyev. And that's if they don't blow things up and trade some of the core players to help their defense. So if they didn't do that, this is what I have their D core looking like. You have Riley and Muzzin, obviously, with I would put them together on line one. I think they would work well with each other. You have Muzzin, the stay-at-home big guy, defensive defenseman, with Riley, who obviously jumps in on the play a lot. I know he jumped in more than usual in the playoffs, but it was really needed in a series like that. But I think Riley and Muzzin would work well together. I think line two, obviously you have Justin Hall for another 3 years at $2 million. You keep him. I think you re-sign Travis Dermott. I think Travis Dermott had a better second half of this series. I think the game 4 and game 5, I saw him take control a lot of the offensive zone rushes, and he didn't really turn the puck over. He showed a lot of grit in his game. I saw him blocking shots more, and I think I liked his game. I really, really liked his game in game 4 and 5 than 1, 2, and 3. I think there's a lot of promise still with Travis Dermott, so I think you re-sign him, and I think you have Hall and Dermott on line 2. Line 3 for defense, you have Sandin obviously here as well. I think he's obviously going to be making the team. He has to make the team out of camp. There's no way he doesn't. And then you have the last defensive spot, a interchangeable spot, basically, of three guys. You have Calle Rosen, Timothy Liljegren, and Kivu Hame, and then you have an extra spot. I have to give it to him since he signed here for another year. I know I'm with like a lot of Leaf fans. I really could care less about this guy, and we could just keep him in the AHL. But Martin Marincin would always be that extra guy, being that he has another year at $700,000. So, but yeah, that last D pair of Sandin and one of Rosen, Liljegren, or Kivu Hame is definitely a must. So again, on paper, that doesn't look bad. Like, I think it can get it done if they play with more heart and more grit. But the problem is going to be is if Kyle Dubas is going to blow up this team, or is he going to keep it this way? I think if he keeps it this way, this would be a solid lineup to keep. And obviously you have one more year out of Freddie that you have to squeeze out before we have to do the talks next season or next offseason about his re-signing. He could be gone, guys. I don't think he's going to be wanting to stay in a team-friendly deal. We'll see what happens. But we have one more year of Freddie, and then we have Jack Campbell as the backup goalie. So, again, if we don't make any changes, I think this team could work in this way, but I do foresee changes happening, so we'll have to see what happens when that time comes. So, guys, it's going to be an interesting next couple of months here with the Leafs, especially with the offseason being so close and not so far away. The draft in October, the mini offseason from October to mid-November, and then training camp starting in the third week of November. So, and it's going to be a small 2-week training camp, and then the season starts December 1st. We'll see what happens, guys. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to, as soon as more news and stuff comes out, I'll pump out more episodes. So thank you for tuning in, guys. Make sure you're checking out the ArmchairGMSports.com, the website. You're liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter, and subscribing to us on YouTube. Everything does help. And check out our great sponsors. If you are in the Niagara region, make sure you are supporting your local sponsors and supporting all sponsors of the Armchair GMs Sports Network. But other than that, guys, thank you very much again for tuning into this episode. I'm out of here. This has been another edition of the Niagara Hockey Lowdown Leafs edition right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. It is your source for North American sports coverage by sports fans, for sports fans, and delivered to you right here in the Niagara region. I'm your host as always. I am Kyle. You can follow me on Twitter at justkyle51. All links for you guys to follow me in the description of the video version of this podcast, or you can hit up the Armchair GMs Pod's link tree that's located on the Twitter account at Armchair GMs Pod. A big thank you to all our great sponsors out there who help us and support us and keep this network on the air and keeping our shows alive and on the air. And finally, to your viewers out there for tuning in and listening to us. Or listening to us on the network and following and listening to this episode. This has been another episode of the Niagara Hockey Lowdown Leafs edition, right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Sounds like I'm out here, guys. Take it easy.